Hello everyone and welcome to the STC Ascension Reborn 2026 tournament. I am here commentating overtime for the NHL versus Icey match. Do remember, this is a 3-map overtime, so we're going to be having a lot of excitement here, a lot of hype. And yeah, so original match for this was played, a couple days ago, but we're now ready here for overtime. Obviously, it had to be delayed because of time constraints, but yeah, I mean, we'll see how these guys do. Icey Man has competed in overtime before. However, he did lose that. Did showcase quite a bit of nerves against Gavin on Autumn Woodlands, so doesn't have the best overtime history, but he has had quite a significant amount more practice than NHL, who's kind of coming in here practiceless. But I do think on paper he's the favorite. And yeah, this match has been a little bit delayed because Icey was trying to figure out his recordings, but should be good to go, hopefully. Obviously, we don't want to have a situation where, someone's touches genuinely aren't recorded in an overtime match like this. Like, that would be quite horrific. Practice 2 here already. Yeah, I can't type. There. So yeah, if we look on paper, I still think NHL is the better Frozen player. I think he has more of a chance of touching 25-0 than Icey does. So Icey's gonna hope that NHL keeps getting 25-3 caliber runs, as that is definitely not strong enough for these two, who I believe tied with a .133 average in regulation, maybe .100. I'm not exactly sure, but that is a very high tier caliber time, so you can't have too many mistakes. I see struggling with this jump here. I know that's something that's super easy to lose your rhythm on in tournament. Obviously that happened to me when I went to triple overtime on Frozen. It was really easy to lose timing on how to do that jump. So hopefully he can get over that, maybe fix his nerves a little bit. Not sure what he's doing right now. Just practice the map, dude. Like, if you're gonna be joking around, you may as well practice the map or just AFK. You're just stalling at this point. The inevitable's coming in 30 seconds anyway. And honestly, I think this mentality is a huge part of why I favor NHL, because, Icey can try to joke around, but when it actually comes time to perform, NHL is, he does play serious. He is a serious player. But we'll see here in round 1 if Icey can get his slope issues under control. Yeah, I mean, good luck to these two, of course, but we'll see what happens here. Okay. So we do give redos for spawns if they don't, continue to run, but see what NHL. Oh, starts with a missed end zone. Unfortunate start there from NHL. All right. Icey Man's round 1 here. It works. It's not the cleanest, but this still could be a 25-1, with a good touch. See what he finishes out here. Maybe a 0.2 IGT. Ooh, a safe end zone for 25-2. You know, taking the little safe does make sense. Row 2 here. Icey still complaining about a little bit of lag coming from OBS. NHL, obviously. I think he did get a little bit of... Oh, both of them didn't hit that clean. Iceman's actually ahead, though. He's actually, you know, obviously not performing an upset yet, but he's outperforming NHL. Who is the favorite on this map? He's having a little bit of lag spikes. Ooh, a 25-2 IGT draw there. You know, I would like to see this match, you know, go to double overtime. Maybe go to sudden death, question mark. Obviously, we've been seeing a lot of crazy overtime, sudden death matches, you know, in this tournament. So, yet another one would be crazy to see. Round 3. I do assume Icey Man is, you know, resetting. But can't really tell easily. Wow, Icey's line is much better than NHL, although he is slightly behind. This is, I mean, NHL's already kind of running out of chances here. Starting with, you know, kind of a late 25-2. 25-2 again for NHL. Icey with a 25-3. You know, maybe slightly slower times than what we saw in regulation. I'm sure the nerves are impacting both of them. Round 4. Still have yet to see a 25-1 IGT, which is a little surprising. I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing 100 averages in tournament, which I did expect to be the standard. I did expect the winning overtime average to be 25.100. Icey actually did figure that part out a little bit in rounds, but his lines after kind of ruined his run. I don't think he's on a 25-1 touch here. Ooh, NHL gets the first 0.1 IGT of the match with a 25-1. Clawing back after, you know, a little bit of a rough start for him. Round 5 here already. I believe we're on to... Round 5. Icey still definitely has a chance here, but we'll need a great run here. Probably a 25-1 IGT. But that is completely in the cards. A 25-1 from NHL might put it away. Oh, but that's a huge bonk from Icey, man. A death for him. NHL's on a great run. Icey's saying it's over, but I do think Frozen was the one map that he was kind of expected to lose. Oh, another 25-1 IGT for NHL. More than likely taking Frozen. Maybe with a 1-0-0 average. I mean, 1-3-3 IGT. We just need one of these two to retime. But we're now heading on to overtime map number 2, Crystal Mine. This is one where, you know, like Frozen, NHL is expected to win. I do think Icey's more expected to win this one. Probably had a better performance in regulation, but did have a couple touches just be barely 0.1 off. Or just barely 1 frame off, so definitely played better on Crystal Mine, I felt, but in terms of the average, did end with a tie. Practice one here. They'll both be going for, you know, safety skip, I believe 5 out of 5. I don't think they'll be going for risky skip or skipless at all. And I think a good target time here is maybe like 23-7. So one of the more high-level crystal skip matches we've seen. Yeah, 23-6 there in practice for Icey. I don't see either one of them chucking, even shot chucking, risky skip here. As I don't think either of them have practice for that. Especially not at NHL. Maybe Icey has a trick up his sleeve. That does seem like something he would do. Yeah, I mean, 23-6 for Icey it's a good sign there in practice. I do wonder. 23,700 was the winning average for regulation, so 23-6 IGT is always a good sign. Obviously, Icey was a little disappointed with NHL tying this map. This is one that he, going into the match, was expecting to just slaughter NHL on, and to have NHL tie him completely, maybe a knock against his mindset going into maps like Heist, but 23-6, 23-7 there, so we're going to be seeing very, very fast averages here in round one. Good luck to both. Again, I do expect them to just start out with skip. I don't intend to see any. They don't intend to go for any skip lists. They know how consistent the skip can be when you're at that high level. Ooh, a bonk from NHL because of an unexpected steam. Oh, but maybe slightly faster Chris. No, Icey's on a great run here. Like 23-4 pace. 23-5. 24-0 for NHL's slightly behind pace. Round two. Obviously, NHL is playing on a little bit more ping than Icey, so we'll have to take that into account, but obviously I don't think that'll make up for the 0.5 difference in round one. NHL, again, slightly behind Icey. Not the cleanest crystals from here in overtime. Maybe 23-8 from him. 23-6-7 for Icey. 23-7, 23-8. Picking up the pace a little bit for NHL, but still behind Icey. And Icey's putting together a very, very solid average here. You know, starting out with 2 sub-regulation average runs, if that makes sense. Starting out with 2 runs that were sub the winning average, or the tying average. If he can piece together like another 23-6, that would put him in a great position. NHL needs to start getting good runs here. Obviously, it does have DNF protection, but he's not looking the fastest. Oh, a slope sink for NHL, and Icey's on another great run here. It's a super dominant performance here on Crystal Mine. A 23-6 from Icey. 23-9 from NHL. Doesn't put him in a good spot. Does still have a 23-7 he can work with, but he'll need amazing runs from here on out. He doesn't have any more wiggle room for slow crystals. Maybe he could chuck a couple attempts at the fast skip. Just one solid, fast skip could make up for all this deficit. But he needs to perform here. Oh, he did chuck an attempt at the fast skip. Icey Man is also dead. So he is aware of that skip. I can just kind of tell by the lines, his approach, that he doesn't even know how to do it. That was a close attempt. Could he get lucky here? But even if he does get lucky, he'll need like a 23-2 or something. Like, he'll need a great run on top of hitting this skip if he wants a chance. It's not looking great for him. Alright, well, he'll still be using round 5 here to chuck an attempt at it, but we'll need an exceptionally good run. Round 5. Maybe Icey could take the same approach. He doesn't have too much to lose here for Icey, so, you know, maybe I would honestly go for the fast skip here. They'd both go for it. Neither one of them hit it. That will be Crystal Mine towards Icey, man. Likely a 1-1 match here. So it will all come down to Fuyu Village, one of the more consistent overtime maps. They did tie with a 17.33 average in regulation, which obviously can be improved to a 700. So definitely not. You know, these guys didn't play perfectly in regulation. It does show that there is some, you know, a little bit to improve. I don't know if we're going to be seeing 0.6 touches. Obviously, NHL does have 0.6 touches, former EGT world record holder. But in tournament setting, I don't think we're going to be seeing 0.6s from either one of these two. However, 700 average, which wasn't achieved in, you know, regulation, would be ideal for them. NHL slightly improving his Frozen more than likely with a 100 average, but did a little bit worse on Crystal than his regulation average. You know, probably 0.1 slower on Crystal on average. So I do wonder how that'll affect his mentality going into third map. I'm not sure if NHL is expecting to lose Crystal or what, because I do think it was, you know, he did have to perform to even get into overtime on Crystal. So maybe he was just happy with already, you know, being in this position where he can maybe squeak out an overtime win. But just looking at the score, definitely being 1-1, there's a very high chance that we see a double overtime here on Fuyu Village. It's the same situation as Frozen, where NHL is the favorite on paper, but Icey could have a great performance and tie him or even beat him. So nothing is set in stone at all. I just don't want Iceman to get too in his head about lines and stuff like that. You know, I don't want him to try house strat. I don't want him to try anything new here. I just want him to play solid Fuyu Village and get a 700 average. That's about the best you can do here. And I do think that will at least tie for the win and send it to double overtime. I don't think a 0.6 touch will be necessary here. We saw last overtime on Fuyu Village, they tied with the 700 average in regulation and actually had a, you know, map 5 winning 19-6 touch from Chris. So I do think that was a slightly higher level Fuyu Village matchup, though. But, you know, we'll see. I mean, these two definitely have potential and history on the map. Icey, I mean, you can just reset. Backtracking quite a bit. I didn't actually catch whether NHL was doing any sort of house strat or if he was just, you know, doing the basic route like Icey is. And whoa, what is Icey doing? That is not at all the route you want to be going. Maybe just trying to, you know, goof off, have a little bit of fun, try to calm his nerves here before round 1, where it all matters. Neither of them can make mistakes here, and 1-1 overtime. This is basically, you know, kind of the only overtime map that matters. Maybe, definitely the most important though. So, nerves should be at an all-time high. They're both doing the same know-how strat. Slightly different lines through, though. Yeah, you can just tell NHL's lines are a bit more experienced, but he dies on the bridge. Can Icey Man capitalize on this with a 0.8 IGT? Yes, he does. Slightly worrying from NHL. You don't want to be dying to the bridge at all. That should be, you know... This whole map, in all honesty, should be pretty automatic, so any death is a little worrying. Definitely not something you should be seeing. Round 2. Sorry about that. Round 2. Sure, NHL's under even more pressure now after the DNF, or the death in round 1. But his lines are still better than Icey's. Oh, this is neck and neck here. Should be an IGT draw. Yes, 19.8 IGT draw. Not sure how many 19.7 IGTs we're going to be seeing, but that would be a good sign, and it's definitely, you know, in play here. I wouldn't be shocked if either one of them pulled out a 19.7 IGT. Round 3 here. NHL looking to make up even more ground. Still playing a little bit of catch up to Icey. He does start quite a bit behind though, so he is making up time throughout the run, which does put him at higher chances for 0.7, maybe even 0.6 touches later on. But Icey's on a much better run here. Icey's definitely in 0.7 IGT potential. No, a 19.8 still, but definitely a 0.7 touch there from Icey. I mean, NHL did play solid catch-up, but now needs to exceed Icey Man here. He'll definitely be looking for a 19.7 IGT. And he'll need it. Icey, who is already locked in a 19.8 IGT average, should just kind of go all out on lines here. Try to get 0.7s. I don't love NHL's lines here. Oh, he's slightly ahead. It's close. Another 19.8 draw. The amount of 19.8s we're seeing is crazy. Round 5 here. Last chance for anyone to get 19.7 IGTs before we head to touches, but obviously in terms of IGT, if no one gets a 19.7, then that is technically double overtime on Fuyu Village. But touches will tell another story. Round 5. I don't think either of them are feeling great about their Fuyu Village performance. A bomb from NHL. Every run matters, so even past your 3 that count in IGT, you want to put yourself in a situation where you can get 0.7 touches. I don't think that was a 0.7 touch from NHL. This will be really, really close. I seriously could see this going to double overtime, as I do think NHL underperformed a little bit on Fuyu Village. But obviously, we will check those and get back to you. Thank you all so much for watching. Peace.